scientist and welcome back, or just welcome if it's the first time you're here. River has been out for around a month and a half, and during this time I have been thinking a lot. About what, you might ask? Well, about what will happen in the future of this arc. The first book was written in a way that much happened, but it's difficult coming up with theories. I wanted to make a theory video so much, but I just couldn't come up with any good theories. But as I was editing the video about my opinion on River, a miracle happened. The cover and blurb for Shadow was released. Here, I'll let you read it. It might not seem much, but it helped me come up with some good theories. And those good theories turned into more good theories. And those good theories helped me fill up other parts of the story with theories, and so on. This is probably my biggest video yet, so please like and comment to boost it. With that out of the way, let's get to the video. First of all, we cannot have a theory video without bringing up the death of Whisker. I'll talk more about this later, but I will still say a few quick things about it. His death is certainly a big mystery. It's ruled an accident by the cats who found him. It's pretty clear to both us and Frostpaw that there is more to this. First of all, how did he end up there? The cats who found the body say he must have fallen down, but why? Never was there mentioned, before or after Whisker's death, a single other character dying or being injured by falling in. If there's a freaking ravine so deep into your territory that you hunt there, it would be mentioned at least once, right? Since the patrol was hunting around there, why wasn't there at least mentioned that they were like, we were hunting by the ravine, and no one thought of looking for Whisker in there? In fact, barely anyone in RiverClan seems to acknowledge that they have a deadly ravine in their territory. If the ravine is so safe that no one talks about it or acknowledges its existence, how did Whisker fall in? He isn't shown to be stupid. Actually, every time he appears in the books, he is shown to be pretty smart and calm. It wouldn't be like him to fall in because of failing to watch his surroundings. I doubt his stupidity killed him. So maybe an animal chased him, like a fox or badger. Well, there's one specific problem with that. No scent. RiverClan searched the whole territory for Whisker, and none of the cats mentioned scenting a dangerous animal. It's probably no secret that another cat killed him, as his last emotion was most likely anger, and it seems like he'd been fighting an enemy. Whatever it was, there's no way falling gave him the wounds on his back. Those things were so deep it looked like they could have been made by badgers, but I've already said why I believe that's not possible, so it must have been a different cat. The reason I'm bringing this up is to address one of the most popular theories on Whisker's death, that being that Lightleap killed him. Now, reading the book, this would feel like an obvious conclusion. But after thinking about it, there are things in it that don't make sense. Let's make one thing clear first. That scream Sunbeam heard was 100% Whisker. It's obvious. Had this been a Shadowclan cat, she would have probably recognized the scream. Back to why Lightleap killing Whisker doesn't make any sense. We'll start with the most obvious point. There was no Shadowclan sent on RiverClan territory, and no RiverClan sent on Shadowclan territory. If one of them was on the other's territory, someone would at least pick up their scent. But no, there's never been mentioned that there was any trespassing. And another point can be found if you read the scene of Sunbeam hearing the scream closely. It's mentioned that the scream is far away, and just a minute after, Lightleap appears. To get that far in such little time, she would have to run. But when Sunbeam meets her, she doesn't even seem to be slightly out of breath. Just add on the stress of maybe being seen, she would at least be visibly out of breath. She was probably just nearby, and her being injured while running into Sunbeam was probably just a coincidence. And then one of the most important points. So far, Lightleap has never hurt anyone intentionally. All the risks she has taken put her in danger. Anytime someone got hurt thanks to her actions, it wasn't intentional. And we know from Sunbeam's description of it sounding like a cat fighting, that Reed Whisker was at least hurt intentionally. It would feel weird to have Lightleap go from taking risks meant to only hurt her, to killing another cat. And my last point is, it's too obvious. Yes, you heard me, it just seems too obvious that Lightleap killed Reed Whisker for it to be true. It feels more like they designed the scene to make us think it's her than it actually being her. Now, I do have my own theory of what happened to our most boring deputy, but it's heavily tied to a big theory I'm bringing up later in the video, so you'll have to wait before hearing it. Sorry. Well, that took a lot longer than I expected, which is why we should get to another thing. Let's talk about the book covers, because they might tell us more than we think. First of all, the names. They are all based on the clans. The first being River. In River, a bad thing happened in RiverClan, so does that mean something will happen to SkyClan in the next book? And then the cats on the covers. In River, Misty Star, Frostpaw, Nightheart, and Sunbeam were on the cover, and they were all important characters in the book. So that probably means the cats on the covers are important in that specific book. So with that, let's talk about covers 2 and 3, because they might help us. Let's start with Sky. We really have to use the cover here as the blurb doesn't tell us much. The cats you see are Nightheart, the SkyClan medicine cat Fidget Flake, and Sunbeam. Now there's an obvious question. Why is Fidget Flake on the cover? SkyClan isn't even mentioned in the blurb, nor is it in book 3. It's especially puzzling as SkyClan isn't even a point of view clan. So what will happen that makes SkyClan this relevant in the new series? And Leafstar is shown on the cover for Shadow. What the hell is going on? I think it's pretty clear SkyClan will play an important part in the story. On the Sky cover, we can make one connection. Sunbeam is from Shadowclan, and Nightheart is from Thunderclan. What does Thunderclan and Shadowclan have in common? They both border SkyClan. So whatever happens there, Sunbeam and Nightheart will probably both be heavily involved. And if they work together, I hope they don't fall in love. As someone who's not interested in romance plots, Sunbeam, Nightheart, please don't fall in love, I'm begging you. The authors tried this with Bristol Frost and Rootspring and it was torture except for the last book. Don't do this again. The next thing I'm going to talk about is RiverClan. Who will be its next leader? I've had multiple theories, including Icewing, Frostpaw, and even Nightheart. Let's admit it, we don't want him as leader. But I've ultimately come to a conclusion on who will be its next leader. I am 90% sure that the next leader of RiverClan will be Icewing. Why Icewing, you might ask? Well, it seems the authors have been building up her character these last few books, and right when RiverClan is in a leadership crisis, she just happens to have gotten her first apprentice. Coincidence? I think not. I believe in a theory that Frostpaw is a death prophet, and that the signs she gets are telling her that someone will die, and that feather sign was 100% fake. One thing I've noticed is that Frostpaw always gets these death signs when she's sleeping. So the moment Curlfeather's fate was sealed was when Frostpaw believed the fake sign. So far, she's had dreams of 3 cats. Her father Jayclaw, Reed Whisker, and her mother Curlfeather. I've seen some think that Leafstar will die because of the duck leaf Frostpaw found, but I don't believe that's the case, as she was fully awake when she found it. And like I said, she always has the death signs when she's asleep. The next thing I want to talk about is Thunderclass Leadership, because it will be more relevant than you think. Leaders usually die in the order they became leader, like Leopard Star became leader, then Fire Star, then Black Star, then One Star, and then Misty Star. And this is the order they all die. Don't say anything about Rowan Claw, he doesn't count. And if the Errands plan on continuing with this trend, that would mean that the next leader to die will be Bramble Star. But there's one problem. As of River, he still has 8 lives left. There's a large chance he has more lives left than Hair Star, who became leader over 2 years after him. So, how will the Errands deal with this? I think it's pretty obvious. There's been a code passed allowing clans to remove their leader, and the Errands just happen to love testing out their new stuff. And Bramblestar just happens to have PTSD and isn't really fit to be leader anymore. I think it's pretty clear that Bramblestar will be removed from leadership. I don't know when, but my best guess would be book 3 or 4 of a Starless clan. So that brings up the question of who will be replacing him. I've seen some people theorize that Nightheart will become Thunderclass next leader, but I don't want that, as it would mean Squirrelflight would have to die, and she's my favorite character, and I'm overall not a big fan of Nightheart getting a position of power. Well, I guess I could accept it if the cat above his position of power is a she-cat, so if any she-cat, preferably Squirrelflight, becomes leader, then yes, make him deputy, great plan, but don't make him leader. The last time we had a female Thunderclan leader was 2004. 2004! My god, leaders need to die more quickly. Squirrelflight has had a whole book about not wanting to be forgotten, and choosing to come back to life. Unless the authors forgot about this, I think they're making her leader. And my best guess is that she picks Nightheart as her deputy, which I think sounds really good. Ignore what I said a minute ago. But since Bramblestar won't die, are there any cats who will? I believe that, yes, cats will die. One I'm 99% sure of is Sorrelstripe. She's the cat who always comforts Nightheart when he's upset, and always supports him. She's more of a mother to him than Sparkpelt. Killing her off would force Nightheart to actually do something about his problems instead of just being mad at everyone. I'm not saying he's in the wrong for being mad, but we need to see him get character development, and killing Sorrelstrip would help. I want the authors to build her up more, so maybe not kill her until book 3? Now for the point I've been most excited to talk about. It's my most important one, and I spent lots of time thinking about it, what causes it, and consequences. I've also used this theory to flesh out some other points. I think this arc will have, I think that the clans are going to have a civil war. This isn't a normal clan versus clan thing. This will be clanmates fighting each other, hurting each other, maybe even killing each other. I believe the code conflict will escalate. It can be for multiple reasons, but some causes can be cats taking advantage of the code changes, consequences of the code changes, or another source outside of the clans like Soul, manipulating the cats against the code changes to make the situation worse. Remember when I said I had my own theory on Reed Whisker's death? Well, I waited to tell you until now because I believe it's related to this conflict. Though you will probably be disappointed with the theory, as it's pretty common in the Warriors community. I believe the cats Reed Whisker went out with on his last patrol killed him. I do have multiple reasons for believing this, but first I want to make one thing clear. I don't believe Misty Star dying was intentional, it was just a coincidence. I believe the patrol killed Reed Whisker and hoped Curlfeather would get made deputy. I think everyone in RiverClan knew Misty Star was at the end of her life, and that if Reed Whisker died, whoever she picked next would become leader. So they killed Reed Whisker. but their plan went horribly wrong when Misty Star died. Frostpaw went to the moon pool and someone from the anti-change side planted the curled feather to make Curlfeather the new leader. Frostpaw gets a dream that confirms the sign, when in reality it's just a sign that says Curlfeather will die soon. Frostpaw and Curlfeather go towards the moon pool so that the latter can get her 9 lives, but along the way they get attacked by dogs. Curlfeather doesn't make it, and with her last words warns her daughter to trust no cat. Trust no cat. This definitely suggests that Curlfeather was involved in the opposition movement, and knew that whatever they did could bring harm to their own clan. And now that she's dead, there's no one to convince the other clans of the opposition to not hurt or manipulate Frostpaw. This is of course just theories, but her last words tell us that she at least knows that the ones against the code changes will go far to stop them from happening. She also happened to be on Reed Whisker's last patrol. And speaking of the patrol, there's much more clues on how it could have been them. We can be sure he was killed by another cat, but there was a thing I noticed. He only has wounds on his back, and not on his neck or any place like his throat, which means the fall was probably what killed him. And by the sound Sunbeam heard, Reed Whisker wasn't killed from behind. He was fighting his attacker. Which cat could overpower the deputy in a way to not kill him immediately without leaving with any kind of wounds? I haven't really seen a RiverClan cat in this book be described as very strong, so it makes sense no one would get hurt if all 3 cats who were with them attacked him. But if only one cat fought him and he defended himself, they would probably leave with some injury. There are 2 points that make me especially suspicious. First of all is the scream. Sunbeam heard it all the way to Shadowclan territory and mentioned the sound to be really far away. If she heard it all the way there, how didn't Reed Whisker's patrol hear it? If Sunbeam heard it, there's no way they didn't hear it, unless they're all deaf. The second point that is equally suspicious is the fact that the patrol assumed he went back to camp. Unless going back to camp without his patrol is a habit of Reed Whisker's, which I doubt, the patrol's instinct should always be to look for the missing clanmate. It's common sense. I think that we thought he went back to camp BS was just an excuse. Now that we're entirely finished with the topic of Reed Whisker's death for the video, let's get over to some things about the potential civil war that I think are possible. This will go relatively quick, as the only thing I have to say is that I think many cats will die. 3 cats died in the first book alone. There's no reason to think there won't be more deaths in the series. The authors could use the Civil War to kill off some background characters to give the other background characters the chance to grow. Now, which cat will be on which side? You better stay and listen, because I spent 2 hours without any breaks researching every single living clan cat in River, even the background characters, and even then I had to put over half of them in the unsure category. I put the cats in 4 different categories. Pro-change, cats who are for the warrior code changing and believe it will have a positive effect on the clans. Anti-change, cats who are against the code changes and believe they will cause the clan harm. Unsure, cats I couldn't put in any category, and might be anti but not sure. Cats I think are against the code changes but I have no proof. In pro-change, I've written down 43 cats, some of whom are Squirrel Flight, Mouse Whisker, who I think will join RiverClan for a certain cat he absolutely never had a crush on, Tawnypelt, Dovewing, Shelfer, Gorsetail, Icewing, and Spotfur. In anti-change, I have written down 12 cats, those being Bumblestripe, Blossomfall, Leafshade, Thornclaw, yes I know he's an elder but who cares, Scorchfur, maybe Sparrowtail, Berryheart, who probably leads the rebellion, Lightleaf, Brackenpelt, Duskfur, Flaxfoot, and Owlnose. Now, 12 against 43 isn't really challenging. Thunderclan could take them out alone, but I do have a list of 7 more cats I believe can be anti-change, but I just don't have any proof. Those cats are Hollytuft and Honeyfur from Thunderclan, Needleclaw from SkyClan, and Podlight, Fognose, Splashtail, and Havenpelt from RiverClan. But 19 cats still aren't really a match against 43. But the number will probably change as I have a 55 cats in the unsure category. Berryheart seems to be the main antagonist for this arc, and will also probably lead the conservative side of the hypothetical civil war. But a conflict like rules doesn't explode into war. So how does my theory even work? I believe that either someone takes advantage of the code changes, a new code is suggested that is just too much, or there's an outside influence like Soul escalating the situation. I just hope it isn't some supernatural thing again. This time I want the main plot to be one that only concerns the living cats and for the most part only concerns the clans. In a conflict like this, many cats will die, and when you can't even trust your own clanmates, there will be much paranoia and fighting. The last thing I will talk about are possible things for book 2 and 3. I know I said it didn't tell me anything, but while writing this script, I found one theory for book 2 and 3 respectively that were so good I had to bring them up. First of all, we have a user from BlogClan who predicts the plot of Sky to be about Sunbeam, Nightheart, and Fidget Flake sneaking around in SkyClan territory to prevent Leafstar and Hawkwing from getting assassinated. This would be so cool and interesting, and I can definitely see it happening. The second theory is about Shadow from the YouTube user Dragonfire8118, who thought that maybe Frostpaw accused the Sunbeam of murdering Reed Whisker, and that's why Tiger starts watching RiverClan's every move. I believe in a theory similar to this. I believe Sunbeam will vent to Nightheart about her broken friendship with Lightleap and bring up the situation with a scream from the RiverClan territory. A RiverClan warrior will overhear and spread this to the rest of the clan. This leads to everyone wanting to hurt Lightleap, and Tigerstar wanting to protect his daughter keeps an extra eye on RiverClan. And those were all of my theories for this arc so far. Maybe there will be more in the future? Anyway, I need to hurry and record this because I need to go in like 20-30 minutes, and I know this will be a long video, so bye, see you next time.